what was your sense of how the place actually works or doesn't work, and why?
Well, when I went in there, you look at, I think you talk about people looking from the inside, right, or from the outside, trying to make sense or coming up with these theories. Remember, that was my exact experience. I didn't know what to expect when I walked into Congress. So my guess was oh goodness, my assumption, my best assumption was that there was going to be some kind of intellectual, I guess banter between bills, in the committees, right, where you could try to shape something based on your expertise. It would roll up through the committee, right, to the rankers or to the committee chair, and somehow you would get that through that way. Well, that's absolutely hogwash. I mean, there's times when that can happen, but the sausage making is really about where the committee chiefs want to go or the committee heads want to go. And as a backbencher, as a newbie or a freshman, even though I was on an A committee like financial services, I would sometimes be allowed to do a bill, right, to give it a shot, or given a bill that was orphaned from the last Congress because I was the one that could speak to it, or they wanted to make sure that every freshman got a bill or two into the committee pipeline so that they could, and I'm ready for this, I hope you're ready for this, so they could campaign on it. So when you're looking at the sausage making, every single one of us 435 individuals are also looking at what's best for the district. And if you can't make that happen, you're going to have a really tough time, really, I think, with your district, if you're not bringing anything, except there's notable exceptions, and that's the 50 R plus 18 districts in the country, or the R plus 18 D districts, right, are going to be a DRR regardless, right? And you can go clickbait, as much as you want. But what I found was that it really wasn't about policy. It's more about honestly playing ball with the committees, ensuring that you're a big fundraiser, and making sure that you're playing the game with the conference. I mean, that's really how you get things done. And at times I was willing to do that. I was on the WHIP team. I was on an A committee. I was on amazing working groups like the Artificial Intelligence Machine Learning Working Group, because that was my background. So there were good things that got done. But for the most part, Congress is a committee-driven popularity contest where you get the scraps from Longshank's table, right, every now and then, to get a bill through. And it was very frustrating. And then at the same time, if you are an independent thinker, you're fighting the conference and you're fighting your homegrown committees back in your district. And it becomes a multi-flank war of you just trying to get policy through. But what it comes down to is that you're expected to do certain things. And that's to tote the party line with the hyperbole that they put out in their messaging that comes from conference or comes from, the emails you get from leadership. And so I was not very comfortable with any of that. I've just never been that guy. And I think I have a very finely attenuated bullshit meter. And I think that's a bad thing to have. If it's a good thing to have if you can capitalize on it. But I always felt incredibly uncomfortable with that, Jonah. I just felt uncomfortable with just towing the party line. And I think that's what got me in trouble, not only, on the conference side, but I think it got me in a lot of trouble at the committee side of my local committees based on how Virginia politics works. So I'm sorry to disappoint people, but it isn't all love, light, and lollipops and enlightenment in Congress. It's more like making sausage out of lips and assholes, right? And that's really what it is.